So the big guy jumped through another screen today, so I'm going to repair a front window and I'll show you guys how I do that. This is the window that was open that the dog jumped through, jumped right through the screen. You're going to want a large surface to work on, so this table will work fine. You could also do this on the floor. So with the screen on the table, you're going to want to pull out the trim and the little gasket material holding it together. That you can get the screen apart. So once you've got everything separated, don't throw away this gasket tube material, because you want to match the diameter when you get the new screen. And I forgot the name of this gasket material. Spline, that's what this stuff is called. So I went out and bought a few. I didn't take the original spline with me. So all I'm gonna do is match the spline diameter, and then I'll just return the ones I don't use. Using the old spline, I did find a match, and that turned out to be the 4.1 millimeter or 0.16 inch spline. So this is what I'll be using for the project. So now I'm going to get the screen material that I need for this. And there's a couple different sizes you can use. I like to use the smallest one to keep out the bugs. All right, so I found this at Lowe's. I got about 36 by 84 inches of material. This is called the crystal clear screen. This is charcoal, and it has a pretty tight weave for keeping the bugs out. So again, you can get whatever you want. So now what you want to do is you want to lay your screen all the way across your frame and make sure there's some good overhang around all sides. So I'm going to cut it right about here. And what you're going to do is you're going to tape the whole screen down as taut as you can to that table. All right, now the tape won't stick all that great to the screen, so push on it really hard. It's just got to hold it temporarily. Just make sure it's nice and snug. You don't want any wrinkles. Now once you push the spline into the groove, it will actually pull the screen tighter. So make sure there's no wrinkles, but if it's not totally tight, don't worry about it. Make sure your tape is holding on to that screen. That's a critical step, so take your time. All right, so now we're going to use a spline tool. So if you don't have one, you're going to need to buy one. This will make it really easy to push that spline down into the groove. You're going to start in one corner and slowly work your way all the way around to the frame. All right, so I'm going to start in this corner. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay my reel of spline there. And I'm just going to slowly push it in with this spline tool. And one of the things you want to be careful of is when you're pushing the spline in, you want to keep the tool centered on the spline. Because if you roll over the screen, you can actually cut the fiberglass. So just be careful what you're doing. There. Once it goes into that groove, it starts to pull the screen taut. All right, one side's done. Now I'm just going to turn and go down this way. All right, now with two sides done, now you want to look carefully and move slow and pull the screen with one hand as you push it into the groove with the other. And the whole goal is to make sure you don't have any creases or wrinkles in the screen material while you're pushing it in. Take your time and line up the screen. In fact, if your spline has a little wave to it like mine does, I'm actually just gonna pull it snug and set a piece of tape holding it firm for me. Again, be careful that your spline tool doesn't pop out of the groove and actually cut your screen. It's looking pretty good. And just make sure everything's still being held taut. We're putting a piece of tape over here just to be safe. Don't want any wrinkles. All right, we're looking good. All right, last sections. Pick up my tape, I'll use that again. All right, this last side, so this is your last opportunity to get everything tucked in. If you find it difficult to get that roller of that spline tool in the corners, I'm just going to use a butter knife and just get that corner, because my spline tool couldn't get all the way, and I want to make sure that that's nice and deep in the groove. And again, make sure you don't puncture your screen. All right. Last edge. I'm gonna put another piece of tape down here just to hold this in the general area I want it in. That's looking nice and firm. That's good. I'm gonna take that knife, just to make sure that spline doesn't pop out of the corner on me. Looks pretty good. If you're really struggling to get the spline in the groove, it could be that your spline is too thick, so it should go in there nice and firm. But if you're really having a hard time, you might want to double check the width of that groove and what size spline you're using. That's why I like to keep the old spline, so you just match it. All right, we're getting into the final corner, so I'm gonna really try hard to hold this thing firm. I do have it taped, but it's under a lot of tension now, and that tape will have a harder and harder time holding it. Almost there. A couple more inches. Again, just nice and snug for that final corner. There we go. Get it as far into the corner as I can. Once you get to the final corner, you can see where the spline is. I'm just going to take a little razor blade and just cut it right at the corner, and then I'll just tuck it in with the spline tool, or maybe the butter knife, if whatever helps me just get it tucked into that corner. There you can see my cut right there. And now I'll just use the roller spline and tuck that all in. Okay, I've got the last corner done. And now before I trim the screen, I'm just going to go around one more time and make sure that the spline is completely pushed in. All the way around the screen. Okay, this looks really good. All right, now I'm going to use a razor blade, and in this case, I'm going to snap off a section so I have a very sharp, fresh blade, and I'm just going to slowly go around the edge of the frame, cutting off the excess. And go nice and slow. Once you've cut all the way around the edge, you can slide your new screen out. Perfect, not a wrinkle on it. That's it. You've got your new screen in your frame, and you can go put that outside. I just need to talk to Gunner now about not running through the screens again. All right, hope this is helpful. Have a good day, everybody.